everybody. Welcome to the podcast. This is the JRPG Report, episode 207. My name is James Fisher. I'll be your host today for the shenanigans. No, not really. We got a bunch of news to go over in this podcast, including Pokemon Presents news. I'll be honest, I didn't think they were going to say a whole lot, but they did, including some new announcements. We've also got some Digimon news and a couple other fun things to chat about on the show today. But I want to lead with Pokemon and a new game announcement. But we're going to do things a little bit differently this week, as me and Dalton were recording our Sunday special yesterday. That's right, you record things before it actually comes out. And I thought, what better time than the present to ask him, perhaps our resident Pokemon expert, his thoughts on all the announcements from the Presents. So let's switch over to that audio file, and then I'll come back and kind of wrap up everything that we learned about then. All right, everybody, we are delighted to be joined by Dalton as our resident Pokemon fanatic. There was some big news in the Pokemon world, and that is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet coming out for the Switch in late 2022. So what, did this catch you by surprise, buddy? Was it, or did you kind of expect it coming?
Well, first of all, Pika Pika. And okay, so I was not expecting the next gen to come out this soon at all. No, not, this was completely out of the blue. I was happy. Like when I saw the trailer at the end of the Pokemon Direct, I was like, oh, this looks like maybe probably a new spin-off game, you know? Mm-hmm. And when it popped up Scarlet and Violet, two things came to my head. The first one was, oh man, they actually making the 9th gen already? And the second one was, oh, a purple game. I have to get the purple game.
It's purple, but it's not called purple. So there you go.
Yeah. Violet, you're turning violet, Violet. That's also what I thought of when I saw that. Okay.
Yeah, Scarlet, Violet, common names. So this is the 9th generation, is that what you said?
Yes, sir. The 9th generation.
Is this the last color? How many colors do they have to go? I don't
know. There for a while they were doing gems and stuff. Like, you know, you had a ruby, sapphire, emerald, and then they did black and white, and then
right.
X and Y. It was like, well, I don't know if that was supposed to be like latitude and longitude or what. But yeah, they're all over the place. But eventually they are going to run out of. I say that, but there are probably way more colors than we realize.
Probably, or like I said, they'll just change it up, and there's more letters and gems and stuff they can use, I'm sure. So, is this one kind of carrying on the torch, or is it going to be more like Arceus's, or is that just kind of an offshoot, or is this kind of baseline back to the basics type of gameplay?
So the trailer really only showed some like overview of the world map and stuff, but as far as I know, this is going back to more so of the regular style, whereas Arceus is a spinoff, which I would like to talk about in a minute, good sir.
We can get to that, yeah.
But I think this is going back towards more of the mainline series, but from the looks of it, it looks like the areas are very big and sprawling. Mm-hmm. So I know you probably didn't play Sword and Shield, but like everyone's gripe with that was that they said that there was going to be like open world Pokemon.
Okay.
But then there was just like an open world area that wasn't very big, and I think there was one of them. I never played the DLCs, but from what looks of it, I'm hoping that they take inspiration from Arceus, which is a bit different, but just take that and use it in the normal Pokemon setting. So, for example, Pokemon Arceus, you are ported back in time to when they were making the first Pokedex.
Okay.
So you don't have gyms and Poke Centers and things like that. So I'm hoping that they take Scarlet and Violet and make it the way they did Arceus, but with the regular storylines, if that makes sense.
It does. And at least from the description, this one is also being touted as open world. So we'll see if it holds true to that, or if people have something else to complain about. But I think that's kind of, that looks like a good model to go by. that tried and true format, just a little bit more open to explore, seems like a sensible thing to do.
Yeah. I do want to say, too, they did release the 3 starter Pokemon in the trailer. There's like the grass Pokemon is the kitty, and I believe its name is Sprigatito.
That would have been my guess as well. Good job.
There's the fire one who is Fuecoco, and the water one who's Quaxley. Now, Quaxley looks like a duck, and he looks awesome, right? But the fire one, is by far my favorite. And I saw this meme that was like, the kitten is radiating awesomeness. It was like the duck has swagger, and it's like Fuecoco, his favorite, what was it? Fuecoco, his favorite number is the letter 4 or something like that. Because he looks like he's got about 5 brain cells, but dude, I bet he's going to evolve into the coolest one.
Probably, yeah. He definitely looks like, I don't know if you know what Omnom is. He kind of reminds me of that character from the little Cut the Rope games. And there's little cartoons that, they made cartoons of it. My kid watches all the time, and but that same kind of clueless look to his face, like he's just happy to be here.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't really care.
he reminded me of the little bubble dragon dude.
Yes, that's that's a good way of putting it.
Also,
those are great.
He's got the little yellow square on him, and there's been a couple Pokemon that have a yellow square. I think last year Score Bunny had one on his face, and I saw another meme, because the internet's wonderful with those. That was like, who keeps slapping craft singles on Pokemon? And I was like, oh yeah, he's not wrong.
Delicious. That's a very good way of putting it. At least from one of the pictures too, Pikachu is there, so I guess he's required in all of them too.
Yeah, there's a few that I feel like have to be in a game or people will riot.
Absolutely. So you're definitely excited.
Oh yeah.
And hopefully they keep to it. I mean, this seems like they are definitely. Well, I mean, because technically Arceus came out this year, so that'll be 2 big titles in 1 year if it ends up coming out. I guess 3 technically, but it seems like they are on the Madden or the Call of Duty time scale now of every year putting these games out. And why not? I mean, it's the best selling series of all time for a reason, so why not?
Yeah, and I mean, they have some hits and they have some misses. Like I know. Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, like in my opinion, were just all right, but they were trying something different, and I can't really fault them for that, because people always give the Pokemon Company crap for not changing it up. They're always like, oh, these games are the same every year, but then they try to change it up and people get mad. So it's like, you can't please everybody type of thing.
Oh no, that goes, and sales prove that people liked it, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, okay, I'm gonna wipe my tears with this $1 million. And we just made this week. Oh, it's insane.
Yeah. Literally just in the past hour, $1 million. It doesn't matter.
But yeah, I do want to touch on the changes in Arceus too, if you don't mind.
Sure. Yeah, that's been doing very well, and I know you've got some hands-on experience, and some of your buddies as well. They just released the version 1.1, so it seems like a good time to kind of check in. This was very different, but in a good way, you said.
Yeah, it changes things up. For one, like I said earlier, they port you back in time, so people don't have the knowledge of Pokemon like they do in the normal games. And it's really funny to talk to these NPCs that actually treat Pokemon like, yo, these things are dangerous, be careful. Because Arceus is the first one where it's an open world game, and the battle system is, okay, say you see, I'll use a Charmander, for example. Mm-hmm. You run up to it, you have 2 choices. You can throw your Pokeball at it, which depending on the Pokemon itself, there are 3 different types when you're going to catch them. There's the kind that you can just throw the ball at, no problem. There's the kind you have to sneak up on because you'll scare them away if you don't. And there's the kind that are just angry, and you have to fight them before you can catch them, right? Cool. I'm assuming Charmander's probably an angry one that you have to fight. I haven't seen him yet, as far as I've played. But you as the trainer have to be aware of where you're at while they're battling. Because if that Pokemon does like a big, say, a breath fire attack, and it hits your Pokemon and you're too close, it's going to hit your trainer too, and you'll take damage.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
So I thought that was a neat addition where you're just not a ghost in the background now. It's like you have to be cognizant of positioning, you know?
Does the trainer end up actually getting any abilities of his own, or is he just a bystander pretty much?
As far as I've gotten, 'cause I'm going to be honest, I've just been doing a lot of running around and fighting. I have not done a lot of the storyline yet.
Okay.
I've done some quests, but most of my thing has just been like, oh my goodness, I can go anywhere. Let me go roam around and see what I can find it. But it's very accessible, and I think that there are enough changes that more RPG leaning players would probably enjoy it more.
Okay.
But that being said, if you're just like not a fan of Pokemon, you're probably still not gonna be into it. But gotcha. I give it a hearty pip. It's fantastic, man. I like when they first give me that objective that I have to sneak through grass to get up to a Pokemon and throw a ball at it. I was like, "What? I could sneak? Oh, there's actual stealth mechanics in this? What?" It was wild.
It just kind of makes sense. It felt like this is what it maybe. I mean, obviously it's going back in time, so how it started and just felt a little bit more like it should be, I guess. Obviously, there's been years and years of evolution to get to this point, but yeah, I thought it was a really good way of doing it.
When I was a kid playing Gold, and that was my favorite game, this was the game I was always hoping for on PlayStation 1. So getting it on a better console than a PlayStation 1 is quite nice, because like as a kid it was always, oh man, can you imagine if this was like Final Fantasy 8 and we were running around on the world map and you saw Pokemon and stuff? It would be so cool, right? And now it's a thing. So it makes the kid in me smile.
Do you think this is the beginning? There will be more of those?
Oh man, I think that they should continue that spin-off series. Absolutely. Unless they just want to integrate, that gameplay style into the normal series. But I think they have a lot of stories that they could tell, man, because they picked Arceus, who was the god of Pokemon, basically. But there are so many other ones. I think Giratina, you have the 3 legendary dogs, the 3 legendary birds. There's all kinds of little spin-off stories that you could tell while also exploring new mechanics and keeping the core series what it is to keep people happy.
It's pretty incredible. A series that's been going on as long as this one has, that there's still many more stories to be told in different universes, just a matter of branching off. It's almost not a perfect parallel, but kind of like Star Wars is now, where we thought it was this one thing with the movies, and now it's TV shows and all this other things and all these directions of stories that haven't been told yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, speaking of Star Wars, we covered that. We covered that recently on the show. I just want to say, like, Jedi Outcast, fun, doesn't hold up. That's all I wanted to say. But in my opinion, like Pokemon has a lot of room to a lot of stories to explore, because really, what story is there in most Pokemon games? It's like there's not a lot. You know what I mean? You're a kid, you're trying to go save the world. Somebody's trying to do something bad, you beat them. End of the day, everybody's happy. I mean, that's the gist of every Pokemon game. But I would like to see, there's been some ROM hacks where like people go in to the old like Game Boy games and they'll reprogram them and change the stories and stuff, that have made some darker toned Pokemon games that are really, really good. And I just think that Pokemon doesn't want to put out a game that might have to be rated teen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't see that. I mean, I think it'd be great, especially for, people like ourselves have been playing it for a long time. Maybe they're ready for a more mature story. Maybe, a character that's older than 12 or whatever.
Yeah.
As a lead character, I think they're ready, but is Nintendo going to do that? I don't see it.
Yeah. My thing to people, in fact, we were having this conversation in the Steam Machine podcast Discord the other day. My thing is always, if you want a darker storyline from Pokemon, go play Shin Megami Tensei or Persona. Because that's going to give you exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah. In a lot of ways, that's kind of what you're going for.
Yeah. It's like, instead of Pokemon, you have demons, and people expire. I'll put it that way to keep it nice. But
that's the best way of putting it.
And yeah, it's just way darker, and that's always my go-to when people are like, "Well, Pokemon's just too kid-like." It's like, well, yeah, but it's supposed to be. It's a kid's game. I just happen to still play it.
It's for everybody. So
yeah, E for everyone.
Yeah, and they have held up to that. Awesome, dude. Well, I knew you'd be the one to come to talk up the Pokemon, and appreciate you giving your input, Dalton.
Anytime, brother.
All right, that was fun, and perhaps a little preview of the fun that you can have by tuning into this week's Sunday special. Me and Dalton, we're just talking, we're having a good time, and going over kind of what we're playing and looking forward to and all that fun stuff, and catching up on some JRPG good stuff. So you'll want to turn in for that entire conversation. That what you just heard is not a part of that. That is just for this podcast, but kind of just a preview of what is to come. Let me apologize, as spring is in the air. It has hit a few weeks early. The groundhog was incorrect, and so I'm a bit sniffly, kind of getting used to all that stuff. But I think we went over pretty well everything that's going on in Scarlet and Violet. Of course, as exclusively to the Switch sometime in late 2022. They say it's the newest chapters in the Pokemon series. With these new titles, the Pokemon series takes a new evolutionary step, allowing you to explore freely and richly expressed open world. Various towns blend seamlessly into the wilderness with no borders. You'll even be able to see the Pokemon of this region in the skies, in the seas, in the forest, on the streets, all over. You'll be able to experience the true joy of the Pokemon series, battling against wild Pokemon in order to catch them. Now, in an open world game that players of any age can enjoy. It does kind of at least sound like, like I said, we haven't really seen too much of it yet, just that opening trailer, but they're at least going to be influenced by Arceus. Maybe not going quite the whole way with that, but I think it's a welcome addition, and the open world stuff is something that's been wanted for a while. But speaking of Arceus or Arceus, we still haven't decided that debate, I think. But version 1.1 update is now available. They are calling this Daybreak, which begins a new investigation into the phenomenon causing outbreaks of Pokemon. That's pretty cool. Always nice for a free new update. Lots of content going in this. They say in the update, you'll begin investigating mysterious mouse outbreaks of Pokemon that are popping up all over the Hisui region. You'll have a chance to battle powerful opponents like legendary Pokemon and Wardens, adding yet more options to your Pokemon battle experience. Daybreak content will be available after viewing the game's end credits. So you're going to have to pony up and take down the main game in order to experience this update, but I think it'll be worth it. Always a big fan of the free added content DLCs that come out after a game all wraps up. So yeah, that's going to do it for the Pokemon Presents. Like I said, I didn't expect a whole lot, and they completely said, no, we've got quite a bit for you. Enjoy. The other big news, and I probably would have led the podcast with this if it hadn't been for the new game announcements, Scarlet and Violet, is we have a release date for the next Legend of Heroes games. Okay, maybe not the next one, but it's the next one that we're going to get to play in the West. Not a new one, but without having a PC and some means of playing it, console gamers are finally going to get to experience The Legend of Heroes Trails from Zero, which will launch for PlayStation 4, Switch, and PC via Steam, Epic's Game, and GOG on September the 27th in North America. 3 days later, on the 30th, in Europe, publisher NIS America announced. So this is the first of the two Crossbell series games that took place in between Trails from the Sky, which we have and can play, and all 4 Cold Steel games, which we have and can play. So this will really round out the entire experience. If you've not played Cold Steel yet, I would say now that we have a release date for this, and part 2 should be late winter, early spring sometime, I would say to wait to play these, if at all possible. If you can't wait, go right ahead. In particular, Cold Steel 3 and 4 will be enhanced greatly by having played these 2 games. I won't go over the story too much because there are, I don't say there's spoilers in there, but I want to bore you down with this. The key features. Welcome to Crossbell. The beginning of an exciting story arc in the Trails universe is about to begin. This iconic city-state. Experience a rich and refreshing game world that is teeming with secrets and adventures. Polished tactics. Strategic combat has been refined, resulting in a rich, satisfying tactical gameplay. Harness powerful skills and teamwork to overcome your adversaries. Your city, your story. Features such as high speed and skip mode allow you to cater your gameplay experience to your preferences. Enjoy battles quickly to focus on the surrounding story and events. NS America released a new story trailer. You are or have seen this as if you're watching this on the YouTube version of it. You can also check our social media channels on Facebook and or Twitter. And you could have got the link to check that out, along with the fancy new NIS logo that they just patented, which it's just NIS. So nothing too fancy, but I do like it. I think it looks pretty cool. But I am super excited to finally play this one. Like I said, there were ways of playing this before now, but out of ease and not needing a PC rig to play on, I can't wait to finally play this on my PlayStation 4 on September the 27th in North America and September 30th in Europe. I don't know if we're going to get any information out of this or not, but coming up in just a couple days on March the 6th, 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, will be the Grand Blue Fantasy 8th Anniversary Special live stream event. Obviously going on in Japan, so it's early morning over here. If anything does in fact come of this, I'm guessing it's pretty much going to be based on just the anime. I don't think we're going to get any relink news, but if we do, we'll share that next week. PC players, if you've been waiting on a release date for Neptunia X Shinran Kagura Ninja Wars, you now have it. It will release on the Steam platform on May 11th worldwide. Publisher Idea Factory International announced. Of course, this one's already out on PS4 and will be coming to Switch at a different release date of April the 19th in North America. So yeah, they're really staggering releases on this. Typically, the PC and the Switch release dates are the same, but they apparently need just a little bit extra time to get this one out in time. Of course, this is the Ninja Wars game, the crossover between Neptunia characters and the Shinran Kagura franchise, and a hack and slash fast-paced RPG. I haven't got a chance to play this one. I don't know if I will, but it did look pretty interesting, to say the least. Now, when this story came out, I thought we were finally going to get some new information. During the state of play, we got the first glimpse of Star Ocean, the Divine Force. Got a great trailer for it, learned a little bit about it, and nothing since then. So when the story popped up that Star Ocean, the Divine Force will offer a free upgrade, if you get on PS4, you can then play an upgrade on PS5. I thought, hey, maybe this is the beginning of some more information. No, that's it. That's all we got. So that was a very fast news story. I'm hoping we're going to get some more on this maybe coming soon. As remember, this game is supposed to come out this year, and all we've had is a trailer for it. So hopefully they're pretty far along in the process and just kind of waiting for it to pop back up, around E3 or Tokyo Game Show for it to come out maybe in the holidays. But we'll pass that news along to you when we get it. I thought this was interesting. We talked a lot about Soul Hackers 2 last week, the upcoming title from Atlas. And they are definitely trying to, I don't know if outsource is the right saying for this, but they are definitely teaming up with creators outside of Atlas. They are using the music production studio Monica for all the music in the game. The lead production, or the leader of that studio, is a person by the name of Kichi Okabe, who also helped compose the score for the Nier series. Some pretty awesome music in there, so I really like the sound of a sound of that. I don't know if there's any more to that, but at least as far as the music goes, it's going to have some good pedigree behind it. And, you know, maybe it's just a way of cutting down some cost internally and give some chance to outside people to get in on that. Soul Hackers will release on August the 25th in Japan, the next day, August 26th of 2022 in North America. Check last week's podcast if you want some more information about this one. It has definitely been noted, and we talked a little bit last week, that Square Enix would like to develop some of the older games into the HD 2D fashion. You can rattle off a list of games in your mind that you think might be good for this type of gameplay. At least for one small scene, the opera scene of Final Fantasy VI, they did integrate a few HD 2D elements into it, and the results are pretty nice. In addition to the song actually being sung in the opera house and in several different languages, no less, there were some elements put in there that showed off the HD 2D look, and I thought it looked pretty good. It's very subtle. It wasn't over the top at all, just more of changing the camera angle to the scene, really, but I like where this is going. Obviously, I want to see a full game implementation, how it looks in something like Dragon Quest III, before passing final judgment. But you have to be at least a little bit excited about the future and getting to play some of our favorite games of yesteryear in a brand new, beautiful fashion is exciting. Speaking of Tokyo Game Show, this year's version will be a hybrid online event. The official website was updated. Of course, the event will take place in Chiba, Japan. While the event will have a physical location, information will still be distributed online. The first 2 days of the event will be business days. That means game developers and other individuals within the industry will be able to attend this physical event. The general public can attend in the final 2 days. The official website calls this a, quote, hybrid event. That means that consumers will still have the opportunity to view major announcements online. As part of the announcement of the event, Tokyo Game Show will continue to host presentations from its official YouTube channel. However, this will include booths as well as general presentations. TGS said that it will create a more immersive experience for the online viewer. So we'll see how that works out. Obviously, if you are, and we don't like to get into the news here at all of the world, but, it does at least feel like we're starting to turn the page on all this and trying to get back to normal. And big events like this, well, maybe it's a good idea to do this as kind of a hybrid, half in, half out type of deal before going fully back to the way it used to be. If that even is possible, maybe hybrid is the way to go. Who knows? They can make that decision on their own. I feel like E3 is going to be a very similar deal as well. Also, around that time, Atlas will host the Persona 25th FES. Well, I guess a little bit before Tokyo Game Show, actually. And that will take place for a while, from May the 28th until July the 10th. So if you're in Japan around that time, maybe you can head on over and commemorate this event with the Persona Atlas team. That would be really, really cool to experience for sure. It's held, they said, Japan's greatest pop cultural attraction complex, located in, excuse my Japanese pronunciation, Tokuzawa Sakura Town. There you go. It's a cool looking building, according to Teddy, who hosted the video kind of making this announcement. One of the things that's going to be there, they say, is a 1-to-1 life-size statue of Thanatos, Ekazami, and Arsene. That would be insane to see those in public. Three personas of main protagonists assembling for the first time will be one heck of a sight, he says. Official merchandise will be sold, of course, while it's going on. I don't know if anything's going to happen in terms of announcements that we can talk about on the podcast, but it's still pretty awesome to see something like this going on to celebrate one of our favorite franchises here on the JRPG Report. Also taking place last week was the DigimonCon 2022. At that, we learned quite a bit of information, and we're treated to a new trailer as well for Digimon Survive. They're still trying to make it out this year in 2022. There was a lengthy Q&A segment with Digimon Games producer Kazumusa Habu. He explained that there are delays resulting from the game-changing development studios. I guess I hadn't realized that, but that would make a whole lot of sense. Digimon Survive was originally announced as developed by Witchcraft, but according to Bandai Namco Entertainment Europe's website, it's now being developed by Hyde. Regarding the release date, Habu said announcement is expected to take a little longer as we are still adjusting to it internally. So, I mean, obviously we figured there was a corona effect to this delay, but it seems like on top of all that, they changed development studios, which pushed it back even further. But this new trailer would tend to suggest that things are back on track, and this one could make it out this year as currently is planned. It's slated for release on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC via Steam. The Q&A segment is rather lengthy, so I won't go over all that, but you can check out that full article on either our Facebook or Twitter pages, JRPG Report. It was also confirmed that the next Digimon Story game is still in development. Now, this was first confirmed about 5 years ago, last mentioned in September of 2018, but it does remain in development. It will be set in the digital world with a story themed around the Olympos 12. The Digimon producer Habu confirmed. Further details were not announced. So obviously, they got to get through with Survive and get this thing out the door. Then I'm feeling like production goes on to this next Digimon Story game. While also maybe the last thing mentioned was when asked about the original Digimon World, Habu said he is positively considering a port, remaster, or remake of the game. Quote, "We have received many requests for a port or remake of the original Digimon World," he said. "I'm positively considering it, but at the same time, he's also thinking about which choice is best. To simply port it, remaster it, or remake, and which of those options is best." He continued, "If I choose port/remaster, I think it will be highly feasible. If you want a remake, we need to think about how many additional elements you need to incorporate into the game. Digimon World has a very good balance between File Island, the stage, and the Digimon that appear. If we add a new field, for example, the Folder Continent, or new Digimon, then I think we should treat it as a new product rather than a remake." So, he said that he'd be grateful if you continue to share opinions with him. And there you go. They'd love to hear from you. So yeah, if you're a fan of the original Digimon World, you have to at least think that some form, whether it be a port, remaster, or remake, you're probably going to get it at some point in the future. Survive first, then probably the next story. Maybe at the same time they could develop this, whatever they're going to do with Digimon World. But you got to figure it's coming at some point in time. If you are a fan of Tales of Arise, like many of us are, and you want to show off that love to the rest of the world, perhaps each and every day, there's some new merchandise that's coming. It came out back in November, but Amazon is going to be selling it around the rest of the world now. So there are T-shirts, hoodies, and sweatshirts, all with various designs. You've got like the logo on one of them. You've got like a crest with the logo and the name Tales of Arise on there. You got one really cool one which kind of shows like 4 like sprite character versions of the 6 main characters plus Hoodle. Gotta like that one. That's pretty cool. Prices on these. Let's see where we go. The t-shirts are going to go for $22.99. They're available in sizes small through XXX in men's and women's. Pullover hoodies, a little bit more at $45.99. They go from small to XXL. And sweatshirts are going to go for $39.99. And the same going from small to XXL. Pretty much they're white and black. There's also some grays that are there for the sweatshirts or the hoodies. So there you go. If you really want some swag that you can show off, there you can do it. I think it's on there right now. I don't see a release date for them, so I'm guessing search on Amazon. Yeah, now available on Amazon. So there you go. If you got Prime, maybe you can get it free shipping. I don't know. I haven't checked it out yet. A game I am so much looking forward to is Sea of Stars. One of the reasons why, in addition to a myriad of other things, it is obviously inspired by Chrono Trigger. You don't even have to play Chrono Trigger to know that this game is inspired from it. And it's taking its inspiration to the next level, in addition to the overworld maps, which is straight out the playbook. Directly, there will be music from legendary composer of all the tracks for Chrono Trigger and Cross, Yasunori Masuda. He said that there's going to be around 10 songs from the artist in the games. I can't wait to hear those. In addition, there might even be some night and day versions of songs, kind of like what you see in Xenoblade Chronicles. So that's what they're saying right now. Maybe there's more. Who knows? It would be great if the entire soundtrack was composed by him, but I will take 10 songs any day of the week. One final thing I thought was really interesting, I'd love to talk about. It's fun to think about your favorite Final Fantasy games. Maybe even you have a ranking in your mind of which are the best and your favorite ones. Well, Japan has an official ranking, well, at least from Yahoo Japan. They ranked every mainline Final Fantasy game, so that's not counting, or it is counting the online ones. Okay, so all the mainlines, so that means it's not counting games like 10-2, 13-2 and 3, and or Crisis Core, Final Fantasy 7. So think about your list, and here are the final in order of their favorite ones in Japan. Number 1, Final Fantasy 7. Number 2 is 6. Number 3 is 10, which when I first saw this one, obviously the thumbnail was 10, and I thought maybe it could go to number 1 in Japan simply because when you look at the character models, and having played the remaster of this game very recently, it is heavily not only inspired by Japanese, but they actually kind of look more Japanese than other ones for sure. So I thought maybe they could go that route. But hey, number 3 is nothing to sneeze at. Number 4 is 5. Number 5 is 4. Number 6 is 14. 7 goes to part 9. 8 is 8. That's easy to remember. Number 9 gets 11. And rounding out the top 10 is Final Fantasy 3. So think about the ones that didn't make the list, and I'm a little sad to see 12 not make it in there. It's one of my personal favorites. But the first one didn't make it, or part 2. Yeah, I kind of get it. When you compare it against the other games, it's kind of hard to throw those in there as well. Even though they're standalone, they're great games. Compared to the rest, not so much. And not surprising, at least to me, is 15 and 13 not being in there. So it's That's kind of saying something when both 11 and 14 being online only titles are in the top 10, but not some of the other ones like 12, 1, 2, 13, and 15. So yeah, I agree for the most part. Personally speaking, it'd be a little bit different, and I'm sure it would for you as well. But it's just interesting to see anytime these official results. They had 28,000 votes, so it's not like it was a super small sample size. That's pretty decent, and cool to see. That's going to do it for episode 207. Don't forget, in just a couple days, our Sunday special with Dalton from the Steam Machine podcast. You hear us talk all about some JRPGs as our first Sunday special for the month of March. We'll be back next week with more fun and stories all about our favorite JRPGs. Until then, get back out there and level up.